everything that is going on in the world of movies and TV.
Black GI, is it fair to serve more than the white Americans that sent you here?
Da 5 Bloods is Spike Lee's latest joint, which centers around 4 African-American Vietnam vets who returned to the country that they gave a piece of their soul to in order to recover the remains of their fallen commander, as well as several bars of gold that they buried. As they journey along, varied secrets and feelings emerge as they are forced to confront the demons of their past, as well as the inherent systematic racism that resulted in them being at war in the first place. So with Spike Lee's latest movie, I've always had an interesting relationship with Spike. He's a brilliant filmmaker, but he's also a very problematic filmmaker. Not problematic in the sense that he doesn't know what he's doing. He absolutely knows how to use the camera and edit. Problematic in the sense of it's very clear that he always has a message and agenda with every single one of his movies, and he always goes out of his way in order to shove that message in your face as hard as he possibly can. And sometimes it services the movie, and a lot of the times it doesn't. But the difference here is that this is the first time that Spike has directed like a major big budget war movie, and it shows. If anything, I feel like he's almost playing it like a little bit too homage at points, like to the point where he literally plays Flight of the Valkyries at a specific point, like when they're getting started on the journey, like very reminiscent of Apocalypse Now. And in terms of this film being like kind of a spiritual continuation of that, in terms of these men returning to the place where their demons were born in order to kind of conquer them and come to terms with that, I guess my problem comes from the fact that the focus to me, even though like it is about 4 men primarily, the focus of that specifically really only was on one of them. And take 3 guesses who that is. Yeah, Delroy Lindo's character, Paul, I would say definitely gets a lot more screen time and a lot more like focus just in terms of like the demons that are haunting him, as opposed to Isaiah Whitlock Jr.'s Melvin, Norm Lewis's Eddy, or Clarke Peters' Otis. And I'm not gonna say it diminishes the value that the companions present, but it definitely, I feel like, is a little bit of a detriment to the movie in terms of you not getting to explore the way that this Vietnam conflict has haunted all of them, as opposed to kind of just this one guy. No, instead it's like, oh, we all kind of just got past it, but Paul is the only one that's still really conflicted. Almost to the point where it leads him to make some very irrational and quite frankly, like just stupid decisions in the second half. And that's kind of my problem, is that Spike, he always has a message and he always has a vision, but that vision gets in the way of making the best film possible. It's kind of the same reasons why I love BlacKkKlansman so much, because BlacKkKlansman, that seemed to be the one time where his vision, his message actually lined up with the story that it was telling, and it actually made for a very compelling movie. And don't get me wrong, I love the filmmaking techniques that he uses here. Like, I love the dolly close-ups, the club dance scenes with the music and the vibe, and he is able to get performances out of his actors unlike anybody else. Now, I'm probably sizing you guys up for a big disappointment, but the truth is, I still loved this movie. Even taking aside all my personal problems with Spike as a filmmaker, this is most definitely one of the most unique and without a doubt most relevant movies to watch right now, given everything that's going on. I'm almost shocked that Spike didn't sneak some footage of the riots into this movie at the end. But yeah, it's a little bit long at 2.5 hours, and the movie does take a very drastic left turn once it gets to the second half, because specifically without getting into too many spoilers, the problem becomes that the movie transforms from a metaphor about the demons that are haunting these veterans to it becoming, oh, they're literally just back in Vietnam. And it kind of defeats the purpose of what this movie is going for, but again, it's still very entertaining and enjoyable. Again, the cast is all great, the performances are great all around, even with the white actors that are pretty much just there as props. I love the chemistry and the dynamics between the 4 actors, and these are 4 world-class actors. Everyone's giving Delroy Lindo attention, and he absolutely deserves it. If he wins the Oscar for this, I am not going to be disappointed. In fact, I'm actually just going to be shocked if there even is an Oscar ceremony at this point. But I also really wanted to give a shout out to 2 people who I feel like aren't getting the credit that they deserve, and that is Clarke Peters and Chadwick Boseman. Clarke Peters, I have been waiting for this guy to get a big meaty role since The Wire, where he is easily one of the standout characters on that show, and he kept popping up in movies and TV, but I never once saw him give like a great meaty performance, and this was the movie and the role that he deserved. And as for Chadwick, like, again, it's not that like I never knew that Chadwick couldn't act. I always knew that he was a phenomenon. The problem is I've literally only seen him as Black Panther. I haven't seen him in a single other movie. So like just to see him like give an incredible performance, and a limited one at that, it was so refreshing to say the least. So in conclusion, despite my criticisms of the movie, Da 5 Bloods is still a very entertaining and very introspective watch. I would not recommend it if you're just looking for something to turn your brain off and be entertained by it, but if you are looking for something that's relevant, that's actually going to teach you something and will actually give you kind of a different perspective inside the Vietnam War and even find a way to make it relevant today, then I would 100% recommend it. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. All right, so that was the review of Da 5 Bloods. That was the first review that I've actually done in a while. So what did you guys think of the review? Whatever you thought, make sure you leave it in the comment section below. Also, be sure to click the like button and the subscribe button. Follow all of our stuff. It's at Talkin TV across all social media platforms. Be sure, of course, to stay cool, stay safe, and as always, watch more fucking movies.